All right, everybody. Hey, how you doing? It's Will, just in time. It's time to do the story again. We're gonna start a new chapter today. I think that's pretty all right. The last one was pretty long. This chapter is 14, and it's called "No Pain, No Gain." It takes place on February 15th, and it's called Devil's Head, Colorado. So let's get started, okay? Damn spider wasn't even the size of my fingernail, Samantha muttered bitterly. She was about to cause herself a lot of pain because of it, though. Her leg was bad. The wound was hard and swollen, black in the center with angry red lines of infection aiming for her heart. Green Falls and Woodland Park, Colorado had both been looted, like every other place she had come through, but their pharmacies had been surprisingly intact. Sam had tried all the antibiotics that she'd found on the spider bite, giving each a couple of days to take effect. Though they had clearly slowed down the infection that had eventually made walking impossible, it was now life or death. She would have to do surgery on herself. Sam was holed up in the Devil's Head hunting lodge, taking shelter in one of the large rustic cabins. There were old, uncomfortable furnishings around a beautiful stone fireplace, an outhouse in the rear, and huge glass windows in the front that gave her a view of the dwarf birch trees with black moss climbing the smooth trunks. The other walls were decorated with a book, a bear, an angry bobcat, and a calendar still on December. Isolated and alone, she was about to try treating herself so that she could recover while waiting out the powerful blizzard that she could feel approaching. Terrified of passing out and bleeding to death, Samantha let her mind go where it wanted. The thick layer of dust on the floor said no one had been here since all hell had broke loose. There weren't even bloody smears that she was sadly becoming used to. There weren't any bodies, not even a stray cat, and that too worried her. It said there were probably a number of predators around here that were keeping the carrion cleaned up. Her stomach dipped at the thought, and when she shut her eyes, she saw the doomed man on the sofa again, heard the single shot. The compound was 50 miles behind her, but Pat's grotesque face was a daily companion. Won't last as long as he did if you don't do this, Sammy, she muttered. She could only hope that this drastic action would succeed. The bandages and the other supplies were spread out next to her. Flames were roaring in the fireplace at her booted feet, and Sam pulled her cap down tighter over her long braid. It was time to shoot. Luke, or give up the gun. Samantha, who had once created useful technology for the government and saved the life of the president, picked up her hot knife. There was a second one smoldering in the fire, and she tried not to think of how much more it would hurt. There was a shoelace tied around her upper thigh, cutting off the circulation, and she clenched her teeth as she pinched up the flesh around the nasty-smelling wound. Thick yellow clots ran out and rolled down her thigh. Don't need someone to ride the river with, she told herself. The leg of her sweat pants was cut away from the thigh up to the knees, so she passed out. She wouldn't freeze to death. It's do or die, Sammy. The steel in her spine stiffened into an iron bar, and after a quick prayer that she had no real faith in, Sam drew in a deep breath and pushed the knife into her leg. It sank into her flesh as if it were butter. She screamed as pain, like she'd never known, raced up her leg. White and yellow pus shot out, followed by scarlet streams, and she cut again. Hoarse cry, never completely stopping as a chunk of her leg slid to the sticky floor. Stomach and teeth clenched. The sobbing woman forced her shaking hands to drop the knife and grab the full open bottle of rubbing alcohol. Sam dumped it over the heavily bleeding wound and snatched up a second knife with her other hand before the agony could even overwhelm her. Tears blurring in her vision, she shoved the red hot end over the gaping hole. Her lungs burned before she stopped screaming. After using the iron twice more to be sure that she had closed the odd, deeply wound, Sam could feel her heart thudding in her chest, but nothing else except the flames that had become her leg. She dropped the bloody metal into the fire, grasping the syringe of morphine, and with her jerking fingers. Crying tears of misery, she only gave herself half of the liquid and was grateful when the pain immediately sank down into a nasty monster that she could tolerate. The morphine was powerful, consuming, and she was unprepared for the strength of the liquid gold as it had made her thoughts swim. When she was sure she had herself under control, she shot a generous dose of antibiotics into her thigh and then sat still, trying to stay awake. She was afraid of what her mind was sorting through it, and she couldn't help but being afraid. While traveling over the broken landscape, brief flares of light in the darkness had come sporadically and made her go still until they were gone. With NORAD destroyed, Samantha had found no reason to keep searching for the government. She didn't know what she would do yet, but if the surgery succeeded, she might be in Cheyenne by April Fool's Day. Pain came in thick waves, stealing her breath, and Sam thought of her Seattle office with longing. She had spent more time than in the condominium she had received from her parents. She hadn't been a public member of the Weather Service, only a computer message that had been told to be listened to. No matter what their own data said, she'd been well treated, office full of luxuries designed to keep her distracted. Prize rat in a cushy run, she slurred, crying again. Ashamed of her life, she'd been part of the problem. Some of this was her fault. Miserable and exhausted, her eyes shut. The pain and the drugs were too much. Sam slumped against the bed of cushions and pillows she had made as the darkness swallowed her. Outside, the snow began to fall. I'm going to start book 2, but we probably won't get through it. Book 2. Whoa! Sam was moaning in agony before her eyes were even opened, hands automatically going for her wound. As she screamed, as the clumsy fingers found the raw, angry flesh of her leg, she jerked awake, groaning as the room spun. Taking shallow, rapid breaths, she gave herself the rest of the morphine in the syringe without sitting up. Slamming the needle into her other thigh, her empty stomach churned and she gagged. Tears streamed down her cheeks, and Sam concentrated only on holding in her guts as the pain sank down. After a moment, she pried her eyes open. Cleanup had come to be done. Excuse me, guys. It had been an animal outside that had woke her. The mess was already drawing predators, even though she could hear the wind and snow beating against the cabin. Her dream flashed through her mind, the latest vision. A blizzard in places on the edge of the storm would experience sudden temperature drops. The war's death count was about to climb. As if to prove her point, the storm outside picked up, freezing rain slamming against the windows, and she jumped at the blur in the corner. Squinting, her blurry vision told her it wasn't a threat. It was a mouse, and it appeared normal. It was the first good thing she'd observed in weeks. Samantha forced herself to use the bedpan, leg flaring up to shout at each jar and wobble. She gently cleaned herself with alcohol pads, relieved to discover the dark red lines lighter, and then forced herself to drink a cup of water and eat a pack of stale peanut butter crackers. She also tossed one into the corner for the mouse to find later. She already missed the fire, shivering and hating the dark, but she wasn't up to the effort required to relight it. For now, she had a big stack of blankets and a couple of flashlights nearby, and that would have to be enough. Legs screaming, Sam took another half syringe of morphine, eyes closing into bliss. She tugged the covers over herself with her numb hands. She would rest a while, and then she'd be okay. She told herself that repeatedly, needing the comfort now that the loneliness had caught up with her on her solitary journey. Sam had finally come to hate the constant silence that was their world now. She needed to be with people again, and as soon as she was able, she would be on her way to Cheyenne, even if the people at the base were gone. There were the EPA-approved weather shelter there. She would check it out and stock for the winter, make it her hideout. She couldn't resist hoping there was already be other survivors there, but knew it was too much to ask. Likely, there would be only more pain and death. And that's a pretty short chapter, you guys. We got through it. Next chapter will be chapter 15. And we're going to stop there. The next chapter will be Birds of a Feather. It'll be taking place on February 16th. But for now, we're just going to end there. And you can see we went from Marka and Angie, to back to Samantha. It kind of goes back and forth between the characters, so you kind of have to really pay attention. But Samantha is now healing up from her wound and starting to head for Cheyenne. So next time we'll probably take up on chapter 14. And it looks like, from what I'm looking at, just gradually as we're going to shift to another character again. And it will take place near Roosevelt, Utah. All right, you guys, that is all I have for you guys today on Story Time with Will. But I do want to remind you guys that we do have tomorrow morning that starts at 9 Mountain Daylight Time, and that is Coffee Chat with Will. And that's where we sit around and we do the Wheel of Recognition, and we also take down the names of everybody that attends that, so that we can do a giveaway on Saturday. The giveaway is going to be, let me grab it real fast here, will be one of my new stickers that just came in, and then we will also do the Wheel of Recognition then as well. So these are the new stickers that are coming into the giveaway now, because I try to just mix it up. I always try to get a different sticker and try to keep you guys up on what's going on. This is the newest one, so I want you guys to make sure that you tell your friends to be there, and we're gonna have some fun. We're gonna be there from 9 Mountain Daylight Time till probably around 11:30 or 12. So bring your friends, tell all your friends to be there, and then tweet it all out. Tell all the people on your Twitter to come too, so we can have some fun. Remember, the more the merrier, and when we spin that wheel, your name could come up to be showcased. We will have it all straightened out. Got my green screen all cleared out, so we'll be back on track. All right, I'm running out of time here, so I want to tell you guys, I can't do any of this stuff without you guys. I love each and every one of you. I appreciate everything that you do for your community, no matter what your niche is. You know, I come and see all my subscribers that support me. If you support me, I'll come and support you. So until next time, you guys, it's God bless you, God bless me, God bless USA. See you out there. Thanks.